When you're asked what is the most luxurious car brand, Volvo is definitely not the first thing that comes to mind. However, Volvo is known as a luxury brand and has been making luxurious cars for quite some time now. Amongst those cars is this, the Volvo 164. Now you see, the 164 is the Volvo for businessmen in the 1970s. If you're a successful businessman in 1973 who needs a daily executive car for you to be driven to meetings or conferences and so on, you should consider getting yourself a 164. In fact, to this day, I would still count the 164 as a luxurious executive car. If I was a person with money, I would get myself one of these. Because I mean, just look at it. It's astonishing, all right? From the outside, you can already see that this car is something special. You can already see its visible opulence, gliding around the streets, showing off its flamboyance in pure elegance. Its visible class already presents the car as something royal, something luxurious. Anyways, that's enough of the overused adjectives. Now, to understand the 164, we must first go into its history. But before that, roll the intro. Anyways, back to the story. So, the 164 was designed by a man named Jan Wilsgaard, if that's the way you pronounce his name, and it started out as a concept called the P358. This will then become the Volvo 164, which was unveiled in the Paris Motor Show of 1968. The 164 was a more luxurious version of the Volvo 140, and this will then become Volvo's first step into the luxury segment ever since the end of the production of the PV60. It has a 3-liter straight-six engine, developed from the 2-liter 4-cylinder engine introduced in the 140 series. The first time in the course of 10 years that Volvo was able to offer a 6-cylinder car. Compared to the Volvo 140, the bonnet of the 164 was longer, and it was made that way to make room for the larger engine. Production went on from 1968 to 1975, and most of the cars that were produced in the last year were sent to the United States. Anyways, let's move on to the car that's right next to me. This is a 1973 Volvo 164e, and being a 1973 model means that it's already the facelifted version. In 1973, the 164 underwent a major facelift, having some renewed details here and there. And we're going to start off with the front, where Volvo enthusiasts can already see the changes. Now you see, in the 1972 model, the grille extended all the way onto the top of the bumper. So the bumper had a curve going inwards just to fit the size of the grille. However, in the 1973 model, the one that we have here, the grille is shorter, the height has been decreased, and because of that, the bumper cannot be straight. As you can see, there is no curve going inwards, it's now just straight. And then we move on to the rear, where we can see the most significant changes, especially to the taillights. Now you see, in the 1972 model, the 164 had those small vertical taillights that just looked like a pair of Halloween candy corns. However, in the facelifted 1973 model, the taillights are then made larger and rectangular in shape. And then another thing that was changed in the rear was the area between the taillights, the part where the license plate is put. In the 1972 model, the area between the taillights is just flat. So when you put a license plate on it, it bulges out. However, in the 1973 model, the area between the taillights is then moved further inwards, as you can see here. Now let's move on to the general details of the 164 with its dimensions. Taken from the 164 owner's manual, we've got a wheelbase of around 272 centimeters. It's around 487 centimeters long, 171 centimeters wide, and around 145 centimeters tall. And then when we move on to boot space, you get a decent amount. In fact, you got loads of space in the back here. You can fit around 4 average size suitcases or even an average human sized body in here. Convenient. Interior wise, oh, it's lavish, all right. All with its little classy details. And what we can already see in front of our eyes is the leather upholstery on the seats and the door panels. And one other thing that was changed with the facelift of the 164 was the instrument cluster. It's got all the things a normal instrument cluster would have. It has a speedometer that goes up to 200 kilometers per hour, a mileometer, a trip meter, a ref counter that goes up to 7,000 RPMs, and a temperature and fuel gauge. The parking brake control light gives a steady red light when the parking brake is applied with the ignition switched on. The brake circuit warning light functions as a warning light should one of the brake circuits fail. The oil pressure warning light lights red when the engine oil pressure is too low. When the ignition is switched on, this light will go on and then go out again when the engine starts. Do not start driving until the light goes out. The battery charging warning light, the one that says AMP, will give a steady red light when the battery is discharging. The dashboard has an analog clock, as if most if not all luxury cars have them. There's the instrument panel light switch. Turning it clockwise or anti-clockwise increases or dims the lighting for the instruments. There's the switch for the fog lights. Depressing the lower part of the switch turns on the fog lights, obviously. It also has a switch for the electrically heated rear window, used to remove any mist during cold and damp weather. There's the switch for the hazard lights and the switch for the air conditioning as well. Below those controls, there's the knob for regulating the temperature of the air. Turning it anti-clockwise makes for cool air, and turning it clockwise makes for warm air. There are 3 buttons for that. One that says floor, one that says def, and one that says rec. Pushing the floor button allows full airflow to the front and rear floor. Pushing the def button allows for a full defroster effect, and the rec button is intended to be used in combination with the air conditioning. Then you have the knob for adjusting the fan speed. Seats are fully adjustable. You can move the front seats forwards and backwards. You can adjust the backrest, and you can also adjust the height of the seat. But most surprisingly, the front seats are equipped with an adjustable lumbar support, in which you can find the knob for adjusting the lumbar support in the side of the seats. Turn the knob clockwise following the arrow that says firm to exert more pressure to the lumbar support to make it more firm, and turn it anti-clockwise following the arrow that says soft to release pressure to make it more soft. The overhead rear view mirror can also be switched to anti-dazzle by pushing back the knob. Rear seats are also provided with a foldable armrest, just for that added comfort for the wealthy passenger. Now let's move on to the engine. Now I believe I have mentioned the engine in the beginning, but it's worth mentioning again. So, 3-liter B30 straight-six engine. Well, to be exact, 2.978 liters. It has 118 kilowatts of power, or about 160 horsepower at 5,500 RPMs, and it has 230 Newton meters of torque, or about 170 pound-feet of torque at 2,500 RPMs. And it was initially equipped with a fuel injection system. However, specifically for the 164 next to me, that fuel injection system was swapped out for a carburetor. For the transmission, you have a choice of either a 4-speed manual or a 3-speed automatic. The 164 next to me has the 3-speed automatic transmission. Anyways, that's all I can give for the Volvo 164. There may be some inaccurate information or some errors in this video that I could have given, because there's like a variety of sources for me to choose from, and each of those sources had different information on a few things like power output or dimensions or weight. So if you think there's something I could have added, please tell me in the comments. And by the way, we have an Instagram page now, so please consider following us. It would really help support us. And that's it. That's it for now. Like, comment, subscribe. That's what James May always says. And I'll see you in the next video. Bye.